The Duggars followed a Christian homeschooling program. It was called Advanced Training Institute, or ATI. We have a pamphlet from an ATI seminar obtained from the 90s. It was there it is right there. And it was something called Recovering Grace, which was some sort of manual for counseling sexual abuse. And you guys, you're never going to believe what's on this form. They suggest that the victim be evaluated by asking things like, why did God let this happen? Was it immodest dress? Were they indecently exposed? Is the victim to fault, is what this thing is really saying. And, were we not under the protection of our parents? Or were we with evil friends, Judy? Maybe evil friends are what did it. That's why you were the object of sexual abuse.
Clearly, this is the work of the devil, is basically what this pamphlet is saying, right?
And now we're done. Our work here is done. That's it.
Done.
We don't have to do anything else.
Blame it on the devil. Don't worry about any kind of personal accountability. There's no need for an assessment. There's no need for actual treatment, Dr. Drew. Their 4-month treatment was hanging out, doing some labor around the house of a family friend. That's the treatment that they've actually told us about.
And Vanessa, they figured that, well, if we just teach him what's right and what's wrong, he's going to understand he's done something wrong. My God, if it were just that easy, if we could just teach people right and wrong. What, Vanessa? You're going to take issue with me again?
I'm not, but I feel like in their compound of 20-odd people, they really do believe that they follow the Bible, they know what's right and wrong, they don't want the law interfering in their house, and they do believe that they took the proper steps. I'm not saying it's right, but I think in their minds, they think that they helped their child the best way that they could.
What? No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
Believe that they think
Hold on, Vanessa.
Yeah,
but you, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but I mean, a lot of people think lots of things that are horrible ideas. You know what I mean?
I know. I'm not saying that they were in the right, but they went to the authorities, which they thought was right. They went back to the authorities.
A year later, they went to a friend.
They went back to the authorities, which, again, they thought was right. They put him in a treatment center, which they believe is right. They think the Christian law is the top law. There is nothing above what the Bible tells them and what God tells them. So they think they better than y'all.
This is no. Listen to this, though. Listen to this. When they were under the gun and Child Protective Services tried to investigate, did you know that the father actually hired an attorney so that his son didn't have to go to questioning at all with Child Protective Services? Is that really following the law of God?
They say anytime you're in trouble, people tell you to call the attorney.
Not when it's Child Protective Services. It needs to be investigated. Some of them were their own children, Vanessa.
I get that.
Their own brothers and sisters.
But just because he called the attorney doesn't mean he's trying to sweep it under the rug and hope that no one finds out their dirty little secret.
No, they hired the attorney.
Is not necessarily a bad thing.
But they called the attorney but they called the attorney to deflect questions. Do you understand? Like, that was the sole purpose why the attorney was called in, was to not answer to Child Protective Services. So they didn't cooperate when there was an investigation that was about to be opened on this case when it happened.
By law, that's their right.
But at least, can we do something? Could we have done something to help these children? I mean, there were kids victimized here, and a group of parents who thought they were doing the right thing. I know they didn't think they were doing the wrong thing. I see parents do the wrong things all the time in the name of doing something right. But could we have done something to help these kids? Legally?
I mean, yes. If the criminal justice system had gotten involved, we would have taken the perpetrator out of that huge family unit and provided protection for those victims.
And maybe treatment for the perpetrator, right?
Treatment for the perpetrator, treatment for the victim. That's why it's nice to get the system involved. And the problem, I think the ultimate problem here is that when the family reached out, and I don't know if it was a result of that letter, that the Harpo letter that went out, and there was some whistleblowers. People were trying to step in and infiltrate this family and get the system involved. But when they went to speak to the police, and the police basically said, oh, well, you did what needed to be done, and as parents, you have punished.
It wasn't the police. It was this one friend. It was a trooper who's now in prison.
It was a trooper. I'm sorry.
But hold on. On the phone, I have Rick Agus. I hope I pronounced your name right, Rick. Aguskiza, I get that right?
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Drew.
Rick is from In Touch magazine, and you broke a story last week. Rick, you have new information on Josh. Tell us about this.
Well, we sent in a law firm, independent law firm locally, down to the prison to interview Joseph Hutchins. And granted, this guy is in prison, but he told us some shocking stuff.
Well, hold on, Rick. Hutchins is the trooper whom the family had reported this to a year after it had happened, right?
Right. A friend of Jim Bob. So in 2003, Jim Bob goes to the state trooper. He brings Joshua with him, and a friend from the church, and he tells him that this happened just one time. And he deleted, he failed to tell him about the 5 other victims. And Hutchins is telling us now that if he would have known, granted the guy's in prison for doing his stuff, but if he would have known at the time, he would have definitely reported it.
This whole thing.
But he did know.
But he knew one episode, wasn't that
I mean,
enough?
you never know.
Yeah, but be that as it may, this guy's obviously suspect. But Rick, this whole thing, I'm absolutely furious and creeped out simultaneously. You know what I mean? Is there something more you can tell us to help me understand how to get my head around this? I feel like there's this group of kids in this compound. It feels like a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, I'm not here to say that they're a cult, but obviously there's a bunch of kids, the victims, that have not, as far as we know, have not had therapy and proper counseling over this. So 5 kids, that's a lot of kids. Anybody else would have been in prison or been, definitely in major counseling or sent away for real, not to this little place that he was sent to, that Michelle Duggar eventually said he was sent to a pal's house to do some manual labor. So
all right.
We're
Rick,
still trying to uncover a lot.
I thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. We, of course, H-Line cannot independently confirm what is being reported by In Touch. And when I say that, when I use words like cult, it's just how it feels to look at this from the outside based on the information we have. I'd love more information that helps me understand it in a way that I can feel better about it. But what's trickling out, or what they're allowing to trickle out, has me angry and has me completely creeped out and very concerned about these kids. And frankly, even concerned about the perpetrator. That guy's not had, I mean, you can say what you will, that guy's had no assessment whatsoever.